Okay, so first of all, Mama Holt came through ready to film. She came through in them red dresses, them braids, and them singles. And she strolled through, struggling, walking them heels. Come through, Mama Holt. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Brandy Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brandy Yvonne. Here on my channel, we do fun reviews, recaps, and discussions of all of our favorite shows. This video, we are talking Love and Marriage Huntsville. I know I'm late, y'all, but I'm trying to catch up before it get too late. Anyway, this is season 5, episode 2, Mars Say It Ain't So. Don't forget to click that like button. Don't forget to subscribe as soon as you get into the video, right? That way you can see all the other content I am providing over here at this channel. Don't forget to also share and comment. Say, hey, I love to dialogue with y'all. Anyway, this review, recap, discussion, whatever you want to call it, it might be a little quick, y'all, because this like extreme hot to extreme cold, rainy weather got my allergies and everything just flared up, sneezing, no runny nose. So I'm trying to, I'm trying not to sit up here and be wiping my nose for the next 30-40 minutes. So we're going to get it done and just do what we got to do. Not sure about Family or Fiance. I might have to just catch up with y'all next week on that one and just, pick up where we leave off, okay? But I will watch the episode, of course. Anyway, so this episode of Love and Marriage Huntsville picks up where they left off last week with Dr. Francis talking to the Whitlows, talking about how when you start to play a game in your marriage, you begin to believe the game, and the game becomes the reality. And so Lewis is like, you think we putting on an act? You think our marriage is a game? He was like, I think that you are having some issues in your marriage, like not showing what's really going on, basically what he said. That's not the words Dr. Francis used, but that's basically what he said. And so that there's some interpersonal conflicts happening up in there. And so then, they weren't really getting it, right? And so Dr. Francis pretty much went to bed. Like, he kind of got tired and exhausted of them, to be honest. So he went to bed. So anyway, then the next morning, we see Marsau cooking breakfast in the kitchen. I said, Marsau cooking breakfast? Marsau cooking breakfast? So anyway, Lewis came in, and Marcel's like, how you doing, man? Like, you had to take some pretty good hits last night. Like, what's going on? How are you? And then he was like, oh, I'm good. Like, it was just, I don't like someone saying my marriage is fake and saying I'm not being real and all this stuff. I didn't appreciate that. And Marcel pretty much called him out, like, and everybody was calling them out on this whole episode, like, you pretty much did this to Marcel and Tisha, so, like, you should understand what they was talking about when they was talking about what they was talking about last season, okay? So, Marcel, he was saying, like, it's funny that Lewis is, upset with Dr. Francis. And he was like, Lou. So now he said in the confessionals, he had me cracking up when he said, now that Dr. Francis has pulled a Lewis on Lewis didn't like that. And he sure didn't. And so then Tisha came in and he was like, she's like, oh, look at you, babe. You didn't cook. You didn't did all this. Okay. And Tiffany came in. And so Lewis and Tiffany both took that time to say, hey, like, we're sorry. After seeing what happened at the reunion and everything, we did want to take time to apologize to you guys about coming at you for your marriage, and they showed the clip. And so Tisha's like, I appreciate the apology. We're all married. We're trying to take this thing a day at a time. We're trying to do this, and we're trying to put our best foot forward the best we can. So, like, you don't need outside influences. Tiffany agreed. And so basically now the Lewises are kind of like, the Whitlows, I'm sorry. The Whitlows are kind of eating crow. They're kind of like, got to eat their own shit right now, for lack of better words. So anyway, then, they didn't even have on the shirts. Dr. Francis gave everybody some shirts. They didn't even have them on. They said, Tisha's like, where's my plate? Where's my plate? Marcel said, it's right here, babe. Like, what you think? So then they sat down at the table to eat breakfast. And then Kimmie and Maurice came in, right? And so Maurice and Kimmie came in their shirts. And Letitia's like, oh, look at y'all in y'all shirts. And so then, in the confessional, Tisha and Marcel was like, one of the other confessionals there say they don't feel like Lewis and Tiffany were being open to the process, because when they were still standing around the stove before Maurice and Kimmie came in, he was saying that, Lewis was trying to explain how you can't come into this process trying to be different, because you got to come in how you are and all this stuff. And to me, he made my head spin every time I watched the episode, because I watched it several times trying to get this review done, y'all. And he was just talking in circles. Marsau and teachers looked like they know what the hell he was talking about. So they said in their confessionals, like, they're not being open to the process. They're getting upset. They're not, taking Dr. Francis' advice seriously, and he's a professional. They're coming in thinking they're better than Dr. Francis, and which they are. So anyway, then, like I said, going back to Maurice and Kimmie coming in, and then, excuse me, y'all, Letitia and Marcel were in the confessional saying that they didn't come in their shirts. Like, we all came here to participate and play along and have fun and do this together. And the Whitlows are not, participating right. They're not wearing their shirts like Kimmie and Maurice. And so Marcel said he doesn't feel that yesterday they earned their shirts. Marcel was petty. Whole episode petty on his petty box, okay? In his petty bag. I wasn't mad. So anyway, they all sat down, and Kimmie get right into it. Kimmie was like, what y'all think of yesterday? And she's like, I do want to say that, like, it feels like you guys are not open to taking in what Dr. Lewis has to say. Like, what is the issue? Well, first of all, Tiffany over there complaining, talking about Dr. Francis is not as late and he not committed to the process. Like, girl, bye. So then, Kimmie was like, for example, with the situation with the baby, when you talked to me, you said Lewis was not open to having the baby at all. But then when you talked to Dr. Francis about it last night, you said that you was, saying something different, saying he was wishy-washy, you was kind of backpedaling. And so then Tiffany was like, oh no, that was two separate kind of conversations. Me and you was just talking about having a baby. But Dr. Francis, he was opening all these old wounds and talking about loss and all this stuff. And I don't even think Dr. Francis give a F if I have a baby or not. And then they were like, okay, but that's the point right there. Like, why is you, like they said basically what you were presenting last night and trying to make like y'all had it all together, but now y'all sitting here saying Dr. Francis don't know us, Dr. Francis this and that, Dr. Francis woo, like Dr. Francis can't tell me nothing. They're like, you didn't give him that energy last night. Marcel's like, the best thing you can do for a person is let them know right then where they stand with you. And so, which is true. And so, Kimmie was like, see, the thing is like, you guys are not being really receptive. And so Lewis is like, I'm not going to let Dr. Francis or anyone come here and tell me my marriage is fake and my marriage is this and that. She said, you did that to Marsau. And so, and then he was like, okay, true. Like, he couldn't really say nothing. And so, I don't know if it was Maurice said, like, the difference between what Lewis did to Marcel and what Dr. Francis did to Lewis is that Dr. Francis is professional and he has the knowledge and all this stuff. And so then Lewis was trying to break down something about wisdom and knowledge. Lord, he be talking in circles, talking about he be reading books, but he ain't got, he not a knowledge guy, but it's his wisdom. I was like, what is he talking about? And then they was kind of like getting huffy and puffy, and Kimmie's like, that's what it is right there, like your energy. Like, you say, like, okay, I got it. Because Lewis kept being like, okay, I got you, Kimmie, I got you, Kimmie, I got you, Kimmie. And then they're like, even you right there, Lewis. Like, Lewis was not getting it. Neither was Tiffany. Like, he'd be like, okay, I got you. And then, like Marcel said in the confessional, he doesn't realize he's speaking to adults. Like, we're reading your body language. He was saying, like, it's different saying, like, okay, I got you versus, okay, I got you. Like, it's a difference. And so, Tiffany was doing her huffing and puffing, and Kimmie's like, see, right there, it's the energy you're giving that you're not, trying to really learn or nothing. Or they're like, what makes you think that, Dr. Francis wouldn't have a lot to offer with his knowledge, his experience, his background, his education? Like, come on. So they wasn't really getting it, y'all. So anyway, let's go down. Now, this was one of my favorite parts of the whole episode when Melody went to go meet with Mama Holt. Okay, so first of all, Mama Holt came through ready to film. She came through in them red dresses and braids and them singles. And she strolled through, struggling to walk in them heels. Come through, Mama Holt. Mama Holt was ready to do her scene. She was not playing these games. So, they hugged it out, and Melanie was like, I want to invite you here, to clear the air, and I know there's some things that happen, and I never, say anything bad about her in the media and all this stuff. And she's like, we used to hang out like this before, and she's like, she let Mama Holt know that she has her blocked in her phone, and she's like, do you have any issues with me? And Mama Holt said, I got no issues with you. She's like, the only thing is you sent that text, and they flashed the text on the screen, and they left it on there real long. They want to make sure we read every part, basically. So Melody didn't like seeing the scene where Mama Holt was talking about how back in the day when Mel was up there having all the kids, and she'd be like, Martell, and she felt like Melody was lazy, and she was working her son to the bone, and she was like, she working my son real hard. Martell, she didn't like that. So she felt like Martell had Melody spoiled. Okay. I'm not going to say whether I agree with that or not. I think that's all kind of you have to be in the moment to know what's really happening, right? If she's having babies, or maybe she's not able to do as much. Like, okay, whatever. So Melody, was like telling her she didn't like how she said that. And she was like, and guess what? I had a conversation with your son, and he said he did not say that. And so, now, meanwhile, Mama Holt stayed making her tea, her coffee, whatever she was making. She stayed eating her breakfast. She didn't stop. Okay. Melody was eating her bacon too, by the way. So then Mama Holt said, okay, fine. You didn't say. She's like, because I said it. And she's like, yeah. She said, yeah, I said you was lazy. I said you was just laying around, letting Martell do everything for you. You was spoiled because he had spoiled. And you was just doing nothing. Say, Martell said, yeah, I said it. You was lazy then. You was lazy. And so then Melody was like, oh, girl, like, no. Like, oh, yeah, I was lazy. I didn't come with no business deals. And, yeah, let the record show. I just laid around. I didn't do no laundry. I didn't do no cooking. I didn't do nothing like that. And then Mama Holt's like, girl, stop it. Like, you ain't got to do all that extra stuff. Like, Mama Holt's like, I'm not going to do this little, like, play these stupid games with you. And so she's like, girl, hush that fuss. She was like, yeah, I said it, but you the mama of my grandkids, like, I ain't saying you lazy now. Basically, she was saying, like, I ain't saying you lazy now. Like, girl, stop. And so then she was like, I said it, but it's a new day. And so, and Melody was saying, and I talked to Martell about that, and, he reminded me of when we were both out there hustling and grinding, and we would both be doing a lot, and you would be saying, for both of us, y'all do too much, y'all need to sit down somewhere, y'all need to, just chill out. And I'm sure they were, always doing something as a couple, always had their hands in multiple things. Obviously, look where they are now. So, and he reminded me that you said that, and she's like, okay, yeah, I remember I said it. And so, she was like, but like, I'm not lazy. Like, look at me now. Like, I'm not lazy. I don't have a lazy bone in my body. And then she was like, well, I still said you was lazy then, and you was over there being spoiled. But she's like, I would have been lazy too. I was having all them kids. I would have been lazy too. And then Melody started cracking up, and I think she just had to like give up. Like, she wasn't gonna talk no sense into this lady, right? So then Mama Holt said, but that's the past. Like, it's done. It's over. Like, we start new. Mama Holt basically said, yeah, I said that back then, but it's fine. Like, it don't matter because I'm still in our relationship with you. We move forward like, girl, bye. So Melody said, okay, like, we moving forward. Like, just because you said that, guess what? I'm going to take my phone and I'm going to unblock you. And we're going to move forward. And Mama Holt said, oh, girl, you ain't got to unblock me. Just ring my doorbell sometime. Come by and get something to eat. I was like, girl. Mama Holt said you could drop by but keep me blocked. So anyway, Mel was like, oh, I'm not going to just be pulling up on you. She was like, but we can get back to doing the things we used to do, have the relationship we once had, I can call you up like I used to and say, Mama Holt, come on, we're going to go eat lunch. And Mama Holt say, yes, I would love that. And I will be there because you are the mother of my grandkids. And I will always love you, honey. I never stop loving you. And so, before we jump back to the healing house, let's just get this scene out the way. So then later on, we saw Mama Holt. I don't know if he was at Martell's house or Martell was at her house. I don't know where they was at. The kids was upstairs. Mama Holt was helping the little one write her name, Sugar Mama. And so Martell's like, what the kids doing? She's like, oh, nothing. They up there playing. I'm helping Sugar Mama write her name. And so then he was like, oh, Sugar Mama, she a handful. He said that like that wasn't his kid. So anyway, Martell's trying to, he over there struggling looking through all the business papers because his wine is on high demand and he don't have enough supply to send it out. So he's trying to get everything together for that. She asked him about how they're moving with the co-parenting. He feels like they're moving in the right direction. She let Martell know that she met up with Mel, and Martell saying, like, he didn't like the text that Mario said Mama Holt, but he's glad they passed it up and moved forward, and that's really big. He feels like they're moving in the right co-parenting direction. Okay, and one point that Melody did make during the breakfast with Mama Holt is that Mama Holt kind of became a casualty of war. And that is true. Like the other family members, like the in-laws, they do become a casualty of war when divorces and split-ups come. And it sucks because what if, you have a sister-in-law you was real close with, but then the man and the wife, your brother and the wife break up, and that's just tough. And then the kid, it's just tough. And then the mom, it's just tough. So anyway, let's get back to the couples retreat, right? So then we see all the couples go outside to like the little fire that Dr. Francis and his wife had going. Marcel talking about everybody sit with their wife, like duh. They have blankets out there. So he said, we're gonna do this game called something like truth telling or something. I forgot what it was called. So they had to sit in the chair. He's like, don't sit in the chair if you're not gonna tell the truth. And so he said this should, you should be able to do this and let go of the guards, let go of the mask so you can really move forward. If you can't do this game, then you can't move forward, basically. So then he's like, the Whitlows, let's bring up the Whitlows. I don't know why Marcel was holding that purple rope from the game. But anyway, so the Whitlows go up there. You could tell everybody was getting on there. The producers set the Whitlows up. So Dr. Francis started talking about loss. He's like, last night we talked about loss for you, Tiffany. And she's like, yeah, you brought up some stuff because, that really scratched the surface of some things I have been through. And he's like, oh, it scratched the surface, huh? So then he talked about loss. Who here has experienced loss? So then, Lewis and Tisha have recently experienced some losses. And remember, Lewis had to run off to the funeral from Martell's wine opening from the wine launch in Atlanta. So Lewis talked to, he asked Lewis about loss, and he was like, oh yeah, loss is hard. Everybody goes through it. And then their friends were like, no, what did you deal with loss? Like Lewis be giving an overall arching statement, like the little thesis, but he don't really be going into it deep with himself. That's what Dr. Francis' problem is with him. So then Lewis began to say, yeah, it was really hard to deal with. I was hurt. I just isolated myself. I didn't want to be bothered. So then he got emotional and teary-eyed. And Dr. Francis was like, oh, finally, the philosopher leaves and the human shows up. And he started crying. And Tiffany consoled him. Maurice brought him some tissue. And Dr. Francis was like, it took all this, but we got you here. It took all this, but we got you here. And Lewis is like, that's what drives me, though. Like, don't get me wrong. It was always here. And that's what drives me. Like, Lewis, just be in the moment, sir. Be quiet. And then Tisha talked about her loss, and oh my God, this was so sad to hear. So her friend from college, best friend from college, passed away suddenly. She celebrated her birthday the night before. Then the next day, she collapsed in her daughter's bedroom. She had just had a baby a couple months ago, and she had a 3-year-old. And they were doing a flashback scene of Maurice's bachelor party, and her husband, Hussein, I think was his name, something like that, was saying how much he loved his wife and he gonna cry. She gave him his baby, and he was all emotional. Marcel said a man should have hoped to love his wife the way that man loved his wife. I was like, oh, that's so heartbreaking. His wife passed away. And then those 2 babies, like, thinking about it, like, I'm getting choked up just thinking about it, y'all. Like, that is super, super sad, y'all. That is so freaking sad. Yeah, that was too much. Oh, my heart and prayers go out to them for sure. Like, that is crazy. So anyway, everybody's crying. They're saying, how life is short and these moments are important. So then we see Lewis talking with Tiffany. Tiffany asking about some lotion or some oil or something, y'all. So Tiffany was saying to Lewis how, she thinks that Lewis crying out there earlier was also because of some things Lewis went through with his dad. And I'm not 100% sure how she made that correlation, but anyway, Lewis said, he had a good dad growing up. His parents did the best they could, but his dad wasn't there for him emotionally. So I guess maybe Tiffany was saying because Lewis doesn't show his emotions well, maybe that's what she was getting at. Anyway, I gotta readjust this, y'all. Had a bunch going on right now. I'm just trying to get this video done. So anyway, he was saying that, his dad just, they grew up in a different time. His dad basically just wanted to take care of the family, put food on the table, and he never came to any of his games. And so he did express that to his dad when he got older. And then when Lewis became an adult after going to school and everything, he would play in like a men's league, and his dad came to every game. And so Lewis even got emotional right there, and he was saying something about like, spending time, and Tiffany was like, I really felt what you said when you cried right there, and I don't want you to ever feel like that about me. And Lewis kind of made a face, and I was like, Tiffany, what did you say? But I guess she's saying like, how Lewis is always asking for more time, and he said like, that's why I'm always making a big deal about time. And so it looks like they had a little breakthrough, y'all. We'll see, right? So then we see, I think Marcel and Tisha were doing something, getting ready, and Dr. Francis came and pulled them aside to have their talk with them, and he feels like the teacher's ready to open up. And so they sat down and said that Dr. Francis was like, this has been light, so far everything's been I've been keeping everything light, but it's serious, and Marcel's like, light? This ain't light. This ain't light. So then he's like, I don't want to know what the heavy stuff is. And Marcel was like, working on your marriage is work. Any aspect of it, is heavy. It's not light. He said, doing marriage counseling is like, what did he say? It's like doing the job and a snake. What did he say? Something about a snake coming. I forgot how he worded it. And then they were in the confessionals trying to talk about it. Then a fly came. I was like, I don't know what kind of omens and signs they getting on them. So anyway, they were talking about the issues with their marriage, about how they felt like their marriage was strong and they really trusted each other. They were strong together. But then the last 4 years, it's been a problem, of course, because they started to show the last 4 years. They said all the outside noise of people commenting on their marriage has been an issue. They showed the clips, mostly clips of Miss Wanda talking about their marriage, really, or the clips they showed. And everyone scrutinizing their marriage has been hard for them, and they have to know who they are. And Tisha saying she's just learning that she has to trust and believe in the man God gave her. And she's like, I don't know if the word is submit or obey or what I have to do, but yeah, I just have to believe in the man that God gave me. And Dr. Francis was looking like, what, girl, is you saying? And so then Dr. Francis was like, okay, so you have to go along with basically everything he says. Like, what is you saying? That's not the words way he worded it, but that's basically what he was saying. And then they were trying to say they make decisions together. Marsau was like, oh no, we make decisions unilaterally. Like, I console her. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, our decisions are unilateral. Like, I trust in her and I believe in her and I take her seriously as a person, because if I didn't, then I wouldn't have married her. I wouldn't if I couldn't trust her and all this stuff. And Dr. Francis was just like, he's not seeing it. So he's like, I'm gonna just wrap this up real quick. He was like, the truth, you don't have to fight for the truth. You don't have to be so hard about the truth. The truth stands alone by itself, okay? And I was like, Dr. Francis better come through with the bars. So basically what he's saying, like, if it's already true, then you don't gotta like fight to show it. Like, just let it be shown. And so then pretty much wrapping up the episode, y'all, we see Dr. Francis goes to sit down with Kimmie and Maurice. Okay, they look like I don't know what they was eating, but they was eating a little late night dinner. Dr. Francis was like, where my plate? Kimmie's like, I'll fix you a plate if you want. Maurice's like, don't be fixing him a plate with his wife here, girl. And so then he's like, nah, he's good. So then, Kimmie was saying it's been a heavy day, and Maurice is saying like how he was reluctant to come here, and he's glad he did. It's really insightful. And he said, he told Kimmie coming there that if they're gonna be there, then they should have sex twice a day while they're there. Kimmie is like, I don't agree with that. I don't want to have sex twice a day. And so Dr. Francis is like, well, have you ever thought that she is in control of her body? Like, hello, Maurice, she is in control of her body. And then he's like, oh, yeah, of course. And then Dr. Francis is like, Kimmie, do you know that you're in control of your own body? And then she's like, oh, yeah, he knows, like, I'm in control of my body. But the thing is like, girl, basically Kimmie's like, I got to cook, I got to clean, I got to do this, I got to take care of the boys, I got to do all this. And then you want to have sex with you all these times a day. And she's like, I be tired. And she's like, I'm a type A personality, so I want to get things done. And she said, before when they were dating, it was easier because they would have sex and then, go about their ways, their life. But now, and she just had to take care of her son and herself. But now, she got to take care of the kids, and there's young men in the house, and daddy makes it like, the men can't do the cooking and the cleaning, and basically it's left to her to do it. And so she's like, she don't have the time to be laying up having sex all day, because when they get done having sex, Maurice get to lay there and just watch the football game. She got to get up and do all the things around the house, okay? Which I'm sure a lot of women go through this, right? Okay, so Dr. Francis was saying, like, you know, as you've been a type A personality, your mentality probably is that you want to get things done before you even go to having sex. And she was like, yes, you was preaching to the choir. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell him. And so she's like trying to tell him, like, if you would, like, you know, come in and do some of the stuff like that would help. And we know Maurice wasn't getting it, y'all. And so Dr. Francis was explaining that he needs to see his wife like as a partner and want to have sex with her, and not just like, oh, a person I'm having sex with, but sex as an act of this thing we're sharing in together, basically. Okay. Anyway, that was pretty much the end of the episode, y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Sorry it was a struggle to get through this review, but we made it through. I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.